Carl Johnson is undoubtedly one of the most liked characters among fans of the Grand Theft Auto series, which is also shown by a survey that appeared on the channel some time ago. By the way, thank you to everyone who took part in it. The fact that CJ is liked by so many people is certainly due to many factors. It is, among others, his sad story, funny moments, personality, and GTA San Andreas itself, which we also love so much.
You know of the boss's curse?
Nah. What'd I do? Let me reintroduce myself.
In addition, despite the many crimes that CJ commits, we often get the impression that the protagonist simply has a good heart, and all this attracts us very much to him. However, let's get this straight. In GTA San Andreas, there are many moments in which CJ shows great carelessness and lack of thought. This is what prompted us to take up the topic of the episode, in which we'll say bad things about CJ, trying to be as objective as possible in all this, and putting aside our sympathy for the main character. The first example that shows us the stupidity of CJ is when Carl goes to a ranch near San Fierro after receiving a mysterious phone call. So the situation is as follows. It's been a very short time since CJ eliminated the Loco Syndicate. Big Smoke, who had an ongoing relationship with this criminal organization, was forced to produce crack on his own. As you can see, CJ got into trouble with both Big Smoke and Tenpenny, who were temporarily deprived of the supplier, and thus the big money from dealing drugs. Although the eyes of many dangerous people are directed toward the protagonist of GTA San Andreas, he doesn't care about it. Because after these events, when CJ gets the aforementioned call from a mysterious person, in our opinion, he behaves as if he does not see any danger.
Speak on it.
This is a friend of yours. I've got some information relating to your brother. Come to my ranch and I'll explain. It's in Tierra Robata, cross the Garber Bridge, head south.
Who the fuck is this?
I can't talk right now. Get your ass over here.
Mom's always told me not to talk to strangers.
And look what happened to the bitch. Now, if you want your brother to go to sleep tonight with his tongue intact, get your ass over here. Goodbye.
As we heard, the man's voice is modulated, so there's no way to recognize him. A mysterious person orders CJ to go to some ranch in the desert. Moreover, the Riddler mentions that he can help CJ get Sweet out of prison, which implies he's well informed and knows what CJ cares about. What does CJ do? Well, without a moment's hesitation, he rushes straight to the ranch, where he may be in great danger. This is important, especially since CJ, by destroying the Loco Syndicate and taking that group out of business, has undoubtedly stepped on dangerous people's toes, as we mentioned earlier. If CJ wanted to find out who called him, he should protect himself before he went to the ranch. Either do some pre-scouting or ask Caesar and Woozy to keep an eye on the ranch from a distance with a few snipers who will react quickly if something goes wrong and help CJ avoid being killed. It's more rational, considering that CJ had asked Woozy for help before, which happened after the photo opportunity mission.
Well, look, Woozy, I need to get some info from you, man.
What exactly do you boys want to know?
Who are these putas, Holmes?
By the way, it's Kendall during the cutscene in the mission Wear Flowers in Your Hair, who talks to CJ about the fact that the man can't make use of what he has. This line of dialogue is a great analogy to the situation we're talking about at the moment. CJ may have contacts, but he doesn't know how to use them sometimes.
Then make it into a garage.
Oh, that's a great idea, sis. Won't you shut up?
You know what, Carl? You are a fucking idiot. Your whole life you wanted something for nothing. Now you've got something and you don't know what to do with it. We'll make it good enough.
Fortunately, it turned out that Mike Torino was waiting for CJ at the ranch, who saw great potential in this boy and the ability to settle many of his interests through the hands of the main character of the game. Even though CJ blew up the entire Loco Syndicate operation, Torino wasn't about to cry over that, and instead take advantage of CJ's help. In this topic, also check out the episode about Mike Torino's plan and why. While working for a government agency, Torino started a drug trafficking criminal group. You'll find the link to the video in the tab. And now let's move on to the missions for The Truth, specifically the Black Project and the Green Goo. The Truth, after disappearing for a while, suddenly reappears in CJ's life. As it turns out, with good reason, he has prepared tasks for him, and they are hard. Truth asks Carl to get two extremely valuable items, a jetpack and a mysterious green goo. Everything seems to be fine, except for the fact that in both of these missions, CJ is fighting the military and probably one of the strongest troops stationed in the state of San Andreas. These are more powerful troops than those from the Robbing Uncle Sam mission performed for Ryder. These are outstanding units, which we know because they were tasked with guarding very important objects. Meanwhile, CJ, without going into too much detail, even though he doesn't like the plan, decides to enter Area 69 and take on this extremely dangerous task, not even knowing what gratification awaits him for it. The same situation occurs when you get the green goo.
Land on the train, kill the guards, get in and steal the stuff.
Oh yeah? What stuff?
I don't know yet.
Oh, you don't know yet. I was starting to think you was a lunatic. What you mean you don't know yet?
CJ takes a jetpack and flies to a freight train with a whole horde of well-trained soldiers on board, heavily armed. What's more, CJ, like before, eventually agrees to everything, not even knowing what the point is of getting the green goo and whether there's a greater purpose behind it or some greater reward. Plus, after these two missions, CJ should be screwed and become one of the most wanted criminals in all of America. After all, the man had caused serious damage to the army, killed many military men, and exposed great government secrets to the public. In short, after such actions, the entire army should throw themselves at him and do everything to prevent him from surviving another morning. In theory, you don't have to be Einstein to know what happens to such things, but still. In connection with the topic of the truth, which we have now touched on, we are adding a kind of continuation in the tab in the form of an episode about conspiracy theories from GTA San Andreas and an episode about the mysterious green goo. Also, in the upper right hand corner, you'll find a link to these videos. Another situation where, in our opinion, CJ shows off his lack of intelligence is taking part in the casino heist. And we're talking about the very concept of organizing such a heist. If we look at the pros, they will be as follows. Triad members and CJ have very large earnings from this, and Caligula's casino will be a bit less prosperous for some time. For the sake of clarity, people will start talking about the lack of solvency in winnings due to financial problems resulting from robbing the casino vault. However, when we look at the situation in the long term, CJ did not gain much from it. Caligula's casino, after the heist, is still quite lucrative and earns a lot of money, and thus continues to be a big competition for the Four Dragons Casino, which belongs to Woozie, CJ, and Ron Falit. What's even worse is that CJ, by participating in the heist, provoked Salvatore Leone and stepped on his toes hard. Surely you remember the call from Don Leone, which appeared shortly after the heist. Salvatore was threatening CJ a lot. Among other things, the man mentioned that the family of the main character of the game will soon be dead.
Sup?
You two-bit backstabbing piece of eggplant shit!
Salvatore, nice to hear from you too.
You're dead. Your friends are dead. Your family's dead. I'm gonna fuck you up and your children and your grandchildren.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, but I got some money that needs spending on some expensive trash, so if you excuse me.
You're dead. Dead.
Also, summing it up a bit, as you can see, the attack on Caligula's did not give so much. Even assuming that Salvatore decided to leave Las Venturas, the same casino stayed and was still a big competition for the Four Dragons Casino. So all CJ got was a one-time cash injection. The question is whether it was worth it, because along with the cash, Carl Johnson also gained a powerful enemy. An enemy who will do anything for revenge, and who, as part of this revenge, can deprive CJ of his family, which in turn is of paramount importance to the main character of the game. Surely you remember CJ's conversation with Caesar, which was carried out between the men right after the body harvest quest.
All dead or in hiding, eh?
Get out of town. Head over to Angel Pine, rent you and Kendall a trailer, and I'll meet you there.
Okay. I just got some shit to take care of and
No, just get my sister out of town someplace safe. Don't shit with me on this one. I can't lose her, man.
Sure thing, Holmes. We'll see you in Angel Pine.
As we heard, Carl Johnson is vehemently against the idea of Caesar, who wanted to get some errands done before heading to Angel Pine. CJ immediately knocked these plans out of Caesar's head and told him to drive with Kendall to safety, avoiding any risk at all costs. So you can say that what was most important for the main character of GTA San Andreas months ago was sold for a one-time injection of cash in the breaking the bank at Caligula's mission. And last but not least, we left the Big Smoke issue. CJ's problem in Big Smoke's missions is his past. The point here is that CJ wants to regain his reputation with his homies at all costs, and this in turn prevents him from analyzing what is happening basically in front of his eyes. Even though Big Smoke shows his true face through many tasks, not only his ones, CJ, blinded by the desire to help, almost completely ignores it. Yes, CJ notices these strange behaviors and even questions them at times, but doesn't take any action and even helps Big Smoke in implementing his plan, which doesn't help the Grove Street families. Now, let's take the murder of Vladimir Glebov by Niko Bellic in GTA 4 as an example, where Niko, as this smart guy, concludes very well. Vlad looked like a respected man in the criminal world, additionally having connections that, in turn, gave him a kind of invulnerability. Niko, analyzing Vlad, saw that the Russian is just a pawn. Notice that his cousin, Roman, thought quite differently. Roman bought Vlad's fairy tales about how important he is in Hove Beach.
Everything was fine, and then you show up, and now we're dead. Because Firsten is a psychopath. He's going to kill us, because we killed Vlad. Vlad was his man. That's how it works. You kill their guy, they kill you!
Niko, on the other hand, simply didn't fall for this made-up BS. And it was thanks to this that even though it was a reasonable option to continue earning money and also paying off Roman's debts during these jobs for Vlad, Niko was not afraid to pull the trigger and kill Mr. Glebov. We just want to show you that Niko Bellic, unlike CJ, used his brain. CJ, on the other hand, did nothing and therefore was unable to prevent the unpleasant events that took place in later missions. To sum up this episode, there are many moments in GTA San Andreas where CJ behaves like a moron. Unfortunately, it must be made clear that some of these mistakes resulting from CJ's lack of thought are simply unforgivable and could have ended in a serious tragedy for the main character of the game. That would be all for today. In connection to the events mentioned in today's video, take a look at the episodes now displayed on the screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care!